What up, guys? Ari here. I'm in Attila. It is absolutely amazing here. It's beautiful. It's nice. It's safe. It's a really, really nice travel destination. But to get here, I had to spend a day and a half traveling through Honduras, including going through the capital and a city called San Pedro de Sul, which is the non-war zone murder capital of the world. So I want to talk today sort of about advanced safety. So I made another video that kind of talked about the basics, avoiding getting pickpocketed, those things. But today it's going to be more advanced stuff, avoiding getting robbed, avoiding really big problems. So the first thing is to plan out logistics. So normally when I travel, I don't really plan out all the details. I just kind of go. But when I was going through Honduras, I knew all the bus schedules. I knew where I was going to be sleeping. I knew how I'm going to get to the next place. So I had to plan it out very, very precisely. And I planned it out so I'd spend as little time in the cities as possible. And I stayed overnight in at a brewery, actually, in like a really, really small town that was one of the safest parts of Honduras. And then from there, I went like directly to the airport and picked someone up, took a taxi to the bus station. I took a direct bus going to the next place. So you really, really have to plan out the logistics. The other thing that I spoke to in my last video is about not interacting with people, and I actually have like a quick story where I fucked that up and that caused me some problems. So I was in Bulgaria and I was at a small town at a train station. This man came up to me and he said, "Where are you from? What do you do?" And I know that, you shouldn't interact with people. If someone's coming up to you, they usually don't have the best intentions, but I was just bored. So I decided to give him the time of day. And he said that, he was an archaeologist and he found these Roman coins. And I thought that was a scam. And then he gave me one of these coins and he's like, "Oh, do you have any coins? Maybe some euro, a euro dollar or something. My son collects them." And I was like, wow, he did this whole pitch just to get like a dollar out of me. I'll give him the dollar. I gave him the dollar. And then I ended up back at the platform waiting for the train. And this dude comes up to me again. And I'm kind of confused what he wants from me. And he comes with his buddy, and his buddy's like this skinhead looking dude, looks like one of these Eastern European mobsters. And he's standing on the other side of me. And now I'm feeling pretty threatened. And I realized that the reason he wanted me to do this was because when I gave him the coin, I opened my wallet and he would then, see if it's worth robbing me. And I had maybe like 50 euros, 80 euros. I don't really remember, but, enough to get robbed in this small town. And that could have very much so been avoided if I didn't interact with this person. So I'm going to finish how the story ended a little bit later, but that's kind of the first lesson is don't interact with strangers that are starting stuff with you if you're in a place that you feel is unsafe. The next one is, even though places are unsafe, they're usually fine during the day. So if you're not out really late at night, you should be okay. And the other part of that is out drinking and partying. And that's really where you get targeted. So a big thing of, avoiding more kind of advanced things happening, things like mugging, things like violent situations, is don't become a target to begin with. And if you're going out at night, if you're going out drinking, you're making yourself a target. I've gotten mugged in Cuba. And again, it was like 4 a.m. I was out, I was drunk, I couldn't really find my way home. And, I'd mug me in that scenario. Like I don't saying I deserved it, but I could easily have avoided that. So, those two scenarios where I kind of could have avoided it, I did the wrong thing essentially. So the next step is to avoid getting mugged. Obviously, try to avoid getting in those scenarios. But 2 is have some sort of deterrent on you. So what happened in Bulgaria is I felt threatened, and I looked down and there was a metal rod on the train track, and I thought about picking it up, and I didn't because I thought, if I pick up this metal rod, that is an aggressive move and a fight starting, and I don't really know what I'm doing, so I might get beat up with this metal rod. Instead, what I did was there's these big rocks, and they were like, you could fit in your hand, and they were jaggedy, so they would be quite a weapon. But I just asked the guy really nice, I'm like, "Hey, do you know how to juggle?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Oh, somebody taught me in Thailand how to juggle. Watch." And I picked up 3 rocks. I juggled them. I dropped 2, and I kept 1 rock in my hand. I smiled at the guy, and I was like, "Cool, right?" And I let it be known that I now have a weapon. So if anything goes down, there's a risk to you now. You could get really hurt. And the guy's just like, yeah, that's cool. And he's like, "I'm really sorry. I got to get going. I'll see you later." And both the guys left. Now, maybe they were just nice and friendly guys, right? Maybe, they weren't going to mug me. But I felt like I did a good preventative step of, making sure that they knew that I'm not going to be an easy target. And that got me thinking, okay, I'm not always going to find a rock. So what I started doing was I travel with a pocket knife. And it's not to fight someone off or anything like that, but it's to be a deterrent. And I've used it in a few cases. And what I've done is, in Colombia, I've done this in South America a few times, where when I felt like I was in a sketchy place, if I was at a bus station by myself, or I was just somewhere where I'm alone and I can't really leave the scenario, I'm waiting for a bus or something, And what I did was I'd buy some fruits. You could always buy fruits in places, usually limes. And I would take out my knife and I'd cut up the limes, right? And then I'd put them in my water bottle to make lime water. And this is a non-aggressive move. You could just eat fruits with that. But I'm showing the people around me that if they want to start something with me, I have this knife. So that's another good kind of advanced preventative skill. Uh, Another small one here is I don't have a wallet. I just keep my stuff in like both. I have a few pairs of shorts and I have like these small kind of hidden pockets in them. But I bought a wallet right before I went to Honduras, and I filled it with like lots of small bills. And this isn't my main money stash. So my main money stash will be in my pocket. But I'll have this wallet on me in case I do get mugged. I'm giving up this wallet, and hopefully this will appease the person, and they don't want more stuff from me. So this is kind of another advanced technique. I've never had to use this, but it might have been useful in Cuba when I was mugged. I could see how it would be useful. So when I'm going to very dangerous places, I'll have my money actually stashed somewhere separately. Cards, you don't want to lose all those things, but I'll be more than willing to give up cash. Going back to the deterrent, before Honduras, instead of getting a pocket knife, I actually I got this, and it's a large fixed blade knife. And the reason I bought this right before I crossed the border, and the reason I did this instead of a pocket knife was a pocket knife is only good if someone sees it. So again, I could use the whole trick of cutting up fruits. But with this, I could actually attach it to the outside of my bag, and it could be highly visible. I could attach it to the front of my bag, so it's obvious that I'm armed. So to me, this seemed like a much better deterrent. And for the pocket knife to be a deterrent, I'd have to take it out and open it, which also, unless you're doing it in a sly way or you're cutting up fruits, it could be seen as an aggressive move. Whereas with this, I could just kind of mess with my bag. And it's interesting because my first day in Honduras, I actually ended up using this for this exact purpose. So what happened was I was going to the capital. I had a bus to the capital. From the capital, there's no central bus station, so I'd have to take a taxi to another bus station. From there, take the bus out of the city. And I knew that the dangerous element was being in the city. And another thing that I was told not to do is not to take just taxis off the street, that to call a taxi number. So I had the taxi number. But what happened was my bus was late coming into the city. And if I were to wanted to catch my next bus, even though I planned out the logistics, I thought I did a good job. I was tight on time. And to catch the next bus, I had to actually get out of my bus early before I even got to the bus station and catch a cab off the street, which I knew was a risk to do because I was told, don't do that. However, the risk of missing my bus and getting to the next place after dark seemed higher to me. It's not like I thought about it with a cost benefit. I just kind of did it. And then afterwards, I'm rationalizing it. But I got out, and there was like 5 taxi drivers all standing together. And I don't know if I was in a nice neighborhood, bad neighborhood. I mean, every place I've seen in Honduras other than Attila seems like a bad neighborhood. But I got in this cab, and, we negotiated a price. The guy should go, and he's not going. And then the other cab driver, who's also trying to get me into his cab, jumps in the front seat, and they start yelling. I don't know what they're saying. My Spanish isn't good enough, but they're arguing with each other, but then they're looking at me and they're yelling at me. And I felt freaked the hell out, partially because I was kind of on edge coming into the city to begin with. But I felt like I was in a threatening situation. So what I did was the knife was inside my backpack because I was going through the border. I didn't want to carry the knife on the border. It was inside my bag. And I just took it out. I fiddled with it. I put it on my lap. I'm holding the thing and I'm like, amigo, like, vamonos. I told him, my bus is leaving. We got to go now, solo, like, no, none of your buddy being here. And he's like, okay, kicked the other guy out. And we drove through, and then I clipped this into the back of my bag. Now, they could have been nice guys. They could have been arguing about who gets the commission, but they might think I'm this crazy foreigner that just like pulled out this knife in the back of the cab. But, I don't care. I got where I needed to go, and I felt threatened. So, I wanted to do something about it rather than just sit back and relax. And most likely that was nothing. But, if I do that 100 times, one of those times it could end badly. So taking preventive steps, would be a good thing. And the other thing is, after that, I sat right behind the driver in the cab. So now I'm in control because it's just me. There's just the driver. I'm in the back. He can't really see me. I have a weapon on me. So now I'm in control. When there's 2 guys in there, I wasn't in control, right? So that was kind of the reason I did that. And that will lead to my final point of, okay, you've done everything. What do you do next? Like, what happens if you do get mugged? And everything I've read is always like, just give in to the muggers. Your stuff is not worth it. all this stuff. And I agree entirely. I have no problems losing any of my stuff. I have no problems losing my phone. My wallet, when I was in Cuba, they took my phone, my wallet, and my watch. And my phone's not expensive. My watch's not expensive. And, money, I could just take out new money. And they wanted my cards. I actually said no to the cards just because that would have been inconvenient. But if they really pressed it, I would have. But I ended up in like a little hallway. I went into the wrong hallway, and then the guy just started punching me right away. They went in behind me, and there I fought back because this wasn't them just asking money. This was them, someone starting a fight. And I'm okay giving up my stuff, but I'm not okay with bodily harm. So if someone's being really, really aggressive, uh, I don't know if I fully support that whole philosophy of just give up everything because, yeah, you want to give up everything, but you don't want to get hurt. So that's kind of my red line is I don't want to be in any scenario where I get physically hurt. So I fought back against them, and then I'm like, tranquilo, like relax, dinero, like you guys want money? Sure, I'll give you my money. But then I negotiated the settlement, which was, not really a good negotiation on my part. They took all my shit, but that was just so much more worth it. So I don't, if I'm just getting mugged, I'm not pulling out this knife. I'm giving up my stuff, especially if the other person has a knife or some sort of, is armed, because then it doesn't matter. If two people have knives, everyone's getting hurt anyways. But at the same time, I'm not just going to take anything, right? I'm not going to let someone physically harm me because that would be my red line. So yeah, to sum it up, advanced safety tips are carry an extra wallet on you or something that you're willing to give up to sort of fool them into. Plan out your logistics. Don't be out at night. Don't go out drinking if you're in a shady area. And then have some sort of game plan for what you do and avoid becoming a target as much as possible. Make yourself seem like a bad target. And, the knife trick that I showed you with eating fruits works really well. Having something on you that shows that, okay, they might get hurt if they attempt to mug you, so you're not the best target. Somebody else is. All these small things. I'm not saying nothing bad will happen. Obviously, it could, but it'll increase your odds, and you'll feel a lot better knowing that you took proper precautions. So I think that's it for this video, and I'll be posting more. But I feel like the precautions I did worked pretty well.